New this hour on CNN. In the latest installment of CNN's Road to 270 electoral map, CNN's political team has moved several states in a positive direction for Kamala Harris. In this new electoral outlook out this morning, 4 states are moving from leaning Republican to toss-up. That includes Michigan, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. Now, CNN rates 7 states as toss-ups, those 4 plus 3 others: Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Arizona, as well as Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, which awards its states by congressional district, electoral votes by district. Now, it's just a snapshot of the current landscape as we assess the map. Our panel is back. So this is a shifting electorate, obviously, shifting to Harris. But is this a honeymoon phase? Or does the Harris team actually think that this is going to grow in the weeks ahead?
They certainly hope it'll grow. I mean, that's.
But look, they could get the balance that they could be. They expect to get post convention could be. They could have already had it during this honeymoon phase. Maybe she's reached her peak and we've reset to a neck and neck race.
I think the main one of the primary questions for reporters covering politics and Vice President Harris at this time has been: is this excitement that's driven by the fact that Joe Biden is not at the top of the ticket? Or is it the fact that actually it's for the Vice President Harris exclusively? Look, going into it, the good news is you're going into the DNC. You can get a boost off of that. This really hasn't been a campaign of policy outlines thus far. It's been one of emotions, and that does matter in an election as well. But the big question here is this momentum going to last? I would expect that you're going to see more questions on what her policy platform is going to be, and not just sort of the excitement over, someone new at the top of the ticket.
She's not Joe Biden, and she's not Donald Trump, so this is exciting.
Right. But how long can that last here? You saw her roll out an economic platform just this week, so you're probably going to see her roll out more things in the weeks ahead after the DNC. With that could also come scrutiny.
But this is yet another forecast here that has Joe Biden, or that has Kamala Harris having multiple paths to 270. The Sun Belt path, the Rust Belt path. That's got to be concerning for the Trump campaign.
Oh, it's absolutely concerning. I mean, they're seeing all of these numbers. Now, again, if you talk to senior advisors, they believe that this is all part of a boost of enthusiasm. They saw this coming. They said that it was going to last just until the week after the DNC. So that's why if you talk to them, yes, they're freaking out. But at the same time, they're thinking, okay, there's a chance that this levels out into a race. The big question again, and this is one that I think has been really hard for anyone on the ground to answer in a way that it wasn't hard in 2020 and 2016, is like we are in an unprecedented moment here. I mean, this late change at the top of the ticket, how voters are reacting, and what exactly that means for driving voters to the polls. And that's what's missing in both the Harris analysis and the Trump analysis, because we simply don't know. And I don't think anyone has a clear idea right now as to how long, if this is a boost that lands, where she lands, what that landing looks like. Yeah. And that's really been the big question. Even on the ground with the Trump voters, it's like you see some people being interested in the fact that she's running. It's like, oh, other people, no, it's just another Biden. But nobody seems to have a real idea of where this race is.
Yeah, and she's benefited from all these positive headlines, as you can see over the last last several weeks in her entrance into the race. But is the question, is this irrational exuberance? This is how Dan Balls, of course, the very veteran and esteemed political writer for the Washington Post, puts it in a story this weekend. So the polls have shifted in Harris's favor, but for all of that, the presidential contest is a toss-up. Some Democrats warn that many in the party may be suffering from irrational exuberance about her chances of winning.
Well, and to your exact point, this is unprecedented, so nobody actually knows what's going to happen next. The Trump campaign is saying, oh, it's a honeymoon, it's a sugar high, but they don't know. And we don't actually know. Maybe she runs away with this. Or maybe, like after the Democratic convention, she sits for her first interview, she does a debate, and Democrats are like, man, we just nominated a lemon here. Because maybe she really stumbles in those first interviews. The fact is that she has been so protected and so guarded these first few weeks. There is increasing scrutiny on every single thing that she is going to do now. The first interview is going to be really dissected and picked apart. Every single policy rollout is also going to be the same. You saw basically the New York Times, the Washington Post really be very critical of her first big policy rollout, which they essentially called price controls. And they called it basically a political gimmick. And that is the one consequence of, while she's been guarded and enjoying these good vibes, there are potential consequences down the road after they get out of this convention.
And just we'll sense how get a sense in the coming weeks how voters view the onslaught of television advertising that they've been seeing really since she had entered the race, and this effort to define who Kamala Harris is on both sides. The money has just been staggering. $118 million spent between the two parties and their groups, their allied groups, since Biden dropped out over the last month. Most of which, not most of it, the most going to Pennsylvania, $39 million on the Democratic side, 37 GOP, and then the rest down the line. Just take a look at what the ads have been saying, what people in there seeing in their living rooms about Kamala Harris.
She grew up in a middle-class home. She was the daughter of a working mom, and she worked at McDonald's while she got her degree. Kamala Harris knows what it's like to be middle class.
If you've had enough of this political era and you're ready to turn the page, Kamala Harris is ready to lead us to the future.
The alarming spike in inflation soaring to its highest level in nearly 40 years.
That is called Bidenomics.
Who released every one of them? Liberal DA Kamala Harris. The victim's blood is on her hands.
They're both trying to define her. Her biggest strength and her biggest weakness is that she's undefined and has to be introduced to voters in this very truncated moment. The Harris campaign people I've talked to think that this is not just good vibes that will dissipate, that the fundamentals have shifted, that, you know, we see Senate candidates, House candidates wanting to campaign with them up and down the ticket. They want to be with them. And they think that whatever happens next, even if she bombs in her first interview, this has been a critical period. You only get to do a first impression once, and they think like it's very protected, but in the way that it has energized people, it has been flawless, is their view.
And I want to follow up on your point about campaigning with Kamala Harris. There's been some who are willing to embrace, some who are not showing up at the convention. I talked to a couple of House Democratic candidates. There are candidates who are in districts that Joe Biden won, that are Republican incumbents, about how they view Harris and what they would plan to do if she came to stump at their districts.
Well, it's great to have a former fellow prosecutor at the top. You know, that was my job before I ran.
How much different is it with her versus Biden?
I think the energy is unlike anything I've seen since 2008.
Would you campaign with her?
Absolutely.
And so the energy and enthusiasm that we can feel now is really palpable. It's exciting.
But has Harris improved your chances?
Absolutely. I think so. It's exciting, though. Like, I'm excited about her energy, what she stands for. I think women are excited to really focus on the pro-choice decision that we have to make.
Yet, there are candidates who are skipping the convention, including ones in difficult Senate races. You can see on your screen there. And there are House Democratic candidates in swing districts who have not endorsed Harris as well. So it's a mixed bag for some of these candidates.
Well, and some of these House Democrats better want to campaign with Kamala Harris because it was their concerns that drove Joe Biden out of this race. It really was the House Democrats in particular, with Nancy Pelosi being concerned about Trump winning and Democrats not having the House and having a united Congress behind him. That fear is really what drove Joe Biden out of the race. And to Annie's point about the ads, I spent yesterday watching every single ad.
Oh boy!
Is there. Yeah, it was a very exciting day. And it's interesting.
I want to hang out with you on a Saturday.
Yeah. And it was interesting to see that even as Donald Trump has really struggled to find a message against Kamala, you know, we've all talked about how we can't find a nickname. Last night it was Comrade Harris. He's called her Crooked Kamala. But it's interesting that the Republican ads are incredibly consistent in their message about Kamala Harris. And it's basically dangerous, weak, liberal.
There you go. We'll see if that sells. All right.